Today I have with me Neil Martin, who is the owner of Goldenrod Garage in Freeport and also a fellow Bowdoin graduate. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. From the class of '65.
Yeah, my class is a little bit later, but I'm not going to age myself. Yeah. So you have a hat on, a Go You Bears polar bear hat.
Absolutely. I think this was the 45th reunion.
So how did this, being a member of the class of
'65,
how did that contribute to the work that you do with Goldenrod Garage?
I think people's passions are generally genetic. I had no background in automobiles as a kid growing up, but from my earliest conscious thought, I was captivated by wheels and the things that made them go around. So throughout my life, it's always been an overriding passion, which I finally turned into a business in 1978.
And now you race vintage cars, or your vintage car, over at Oxford Plains and around the state.
Right. I belong to a club, the Wicked Good Vintage Racing Association, a bunch of senior fellows who raced back in the day. And now we travel around the state and actually around New England racing these vintage cars over the summer.
Before you did this, though, you had a dalliance with the corporate world.
I call it a 3-year flirtation with corporate America, Exxon and Dictaphone, but I didn't quite fit the mold. It only lasted 3 years. And then I went into the hospitality industry, had a very vibrant restaurant, motel, nightclub up in North Conway, New Hampshire. Then moved to Portland in '75 and decided to turn this interest in interesting older autos into a business.
But that was a big risk for you, wasn't it?
Yes and no. It was a risk. It's always a risk to try something new, but I was unfettered by family obligations, so if I fell on my face, it was only myself that I had to answer to, so it made it a little easier to make a jump like this.
Why cars?
Why not? They're aesthetically pleasing, and they embody a specific memory in most people's mind with significant events in their lives. Your first date, your first trip to a drive-in movie, taking the family to camp for the summer. Generally, people correlate interest in pleasant periods in their life with a car that the family had or they had at the time. That's the appeal, and that's why there's so much interest in them today.
I would say you're a bit of an iconoclast, if I could say that. You have some Superman suspenders, you're wearing unmatched Converse All-Stars, and when you were with Katie Kelleher doing the Maine magazine interview, you had her dancing to your jukebox.
Why not? I have a jukebox in the showroom filled with 50s and 60s tunes. Why not shake it out a little?
Does anybody ever question why it is that you feel so free with the way that you live your life?
I've been looked at askance more than once, but it doesn't bother me to be criticized. I'm me.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to talk with us today. It's enjoyable to know that there are people out there in the world who go out there and live with passion. The work that you do with Goldenrod Garage, is that something people can visit out in Freeport? Anytime,
generally not 24 hours a day, but 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Call ahead because I'm sometimes off picking up and delivering stuff or racing a vintage race car, but there's upwards of 300 interesting older cars and trucks out there for folks to look at, and visitors are always welcome.
And people can also read about Neil Martin and Goldenrod Garage in the June issue of Maine magazine. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me in. Have a nice day.
Thank you.